Inspired by Gloria and Saldúa, these are testimonios from the Borderlands, lived by
Nora,
Adrián,
Alma,
Waldo.
Pia.
Dear Gloria, I share with you this heartbreaking picture, headlines my rage and my hope. My facultad speaks loudly, and I want to bear witness as a woman of color, de raíces indígenas, as a border crosser, as one that has survived linguistic terrorism under ruthless immigration policies. I think back to the immigration hearings for my family, when I first realized I was the other. It was the last day of 6th grade. My family and I were dressed in our best clothes, but not for my graduation. That celebration would have to wait another day. There was no translator present, but officials were determined to interrogate my family, and so I translated for us, brokering between the piercing stare of the officials and the worried look in my mother's eyes. I searched desperately for the right words to soften the blow of racism. As this headline demonstrates, the dehumanization of immigrant families is still visceral. I wonder how the children left behind will expose the state's violence against them. Will they resolve, as I once did, to have as many graduations as possible? Gloria, I hope that these children can come to know you and that they can use their facultad for social justice and further education. Gloria, these pictures are of me and my familia when we graduated from UCLA. Soon I will share with you my MA and PhD pictures as well. Gracias, Madrina. Love, Nora.
Querida Madrina Saldúa, with all my respect and love, I write you these few words of agradecimiento. I realized that I was a marginalized individual or the other when I was 20 years old, drunk, high, and late for work. I embodied a stereotypical image of a Latino gangster. This particular picture symbolizes my lifelong journey of decolonization and mestiza consciousness. I realized that I was headed towards a world of confusion and death. After 5 years at Southwestern Community College, I transferred to UCLA in the fall of 2008, and my journey began. During my first quarter at UCLA, I took my first ever Chicano Studies class, and I was able to learn how to get in touch with my most inner woman and be able to recognize and overcome physical and internalized borders such as racism, homophobia, sexism, and classism. These realizations have allowed for me to begin my journey of mestiza consciousness. Her first step is to take inventory. Just what did she inherit from her ancestors? This weight on her back, which is the baggage from the Indian mother, which is the baggage from the Spanish father, which is the baggage from the Anglo. Education has allowed for me to give names to my experiences and realities, but you, Madrina, have given me the courage to express and embrace my Chicano third world feminist politic. I thank you for the positive light that you bring to my life every time that I read your words. With much love and respect, Adrián.
Querida Gloria, remembering the past is difficult but yet healing as well. Me acuerdo when I first realized I was different. It was back in junior high when the tracking and sorting of students becomes more visible. I found myself in a sea of white faces, all sharing their summer stories of travel in Europe. Yo, what could I have shared? I'd spent yet another summer cleaning the rich hilltop homes along the side of my grandmother. I didn't know how to relate in school. I was quiet, shy in my peers' words. Pero yo no era así. The shaming of who I was had began desde que crucé la frontera, y como niña, I did not know how to make sense of it all. Eran dos mundos diferentes, my home and school life. Mi abuelito me contaba sus historias de sobrevivencia, but in school, nuestras historias no existían. So you can imagine qué alegría sentí when I got my hands on a copy of your book. Your words embraced my pain and gave me strength. As I reflected on my experiences in El Norte, I began to conceptualize depression as something more than just institutional discrimination, but as a form of mental and emotional abuse. Lloré, mucho, but I also celebrated. Celebré que por fin I felt understood and acknowledged. I was reborn as a Chicana. Gracias, Gloria. Sinceramente, Alma.
Dear Madrina, I will attempt to illustrate to you some pictures that are important for me while connecting with some of your marvelous historia. La primera foto was shot in 1993, a family gathering celebrating a birthday. I'm feeling my family's collective energy, and perhaps overwhelmed by it. La facultad, it's the initiation of my own intuition, bred by the necessary balancing act that I've developed as a man in a male-centered world and a feminine connection with the human consciousness. This is a powerful group picture, my introduction to social justice and activism, the beginning of my real education as I like to call it. That day, we demonstrated against colonialism, racism, and borders. My identity became political. This was my travesía. Enter the Cuatlica state, the beautiful ugly struggle towards the paradox of peaceful revolution. This is another family picture with brothers and sisters from other powerful women. As with the first one, I'm lost in reverie. There's lots of love and conviviality in the stake, and everyone is chatting away while I take it all in. The Cuatlica state struggle. With these people, I learned and I suffered, but I also transcended my consciousness to become the thinker I am today. Another stage, another familia. If I had set my roots and grown with the people before, you can say that I am now growing my branches and reaching towards the sky like a giant sequoia. These are powerful spirits in the picture, bigger than the corporeal lines. Lastly, this is me. Yes, there's Two people in here, but really we embody one duality. She is my other half and I am hers. If love is what unites theory, family, and humanity, then love unites me and Jacqueline until we cross over to the other stage.
Dear Nina, 4,644 miles, 10 borders, 2 languages. You have come a long way from the home amongst the Andes, the Misi, the Chachani, and the Pichu Pichu volcanoes that cradled you. Your apparent excitement comes from the promise of being reunited with your father when the faces of those around you show their uncertain sadness of when they will see you again. It will be okay. You will be okay. The promise of a better life is what drives this exile, though it is a very solitary existence as a newly identified other, living amongst those that only see you as an immigrant and an alien, having to always defend your positionality as worthy even though you are immediately categorized as living on the margins. But they are wrong. As Gloria and Saldua would say, you live in the borderlands, the interstitios, where your experience of both cultures enriches your understanding of life as a mestiza. This facultad, the deeper reality you embody, resonates the intersectionality you inhabit. Your language, el castellano, and your voice is also that of your parents, when even as a child, you know that their limited comprehension of the English language preface their identity. It is through education and your critical analysis of oppression that you will find the voice towards social justice. Even so, never be ashamed of where you came from, because as Asaldúa said, until I can take pride in my language, I cannot take pride in myself. Acuérdate, todo va a salir bien. Love, Pia.